funds. Angel keep it sharp, every deal done. David got the question, the code, the flow. Remote Ruby, let the whole world know. Remote Ruby, that's the play.
Sorry I'm late, gentlemen.
Dude,
Lunch just takes priority over you guys sometimes, you know?
I had to put a shirt on for you, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to be 10 minutes late. I'm like, guess I get to take the shirt back off.
Yeah, we can't tell if you're wearing a shirt and pants or just completely naked recording the podcast.
Yeah,
only Paul will know.
Yeah. What a week.
Yeah, what a week.
Oh,
I thought it was Friday. So I thought yesterday it was Friday. Then I thought today was Friday. And unfortunately, tomorrow's Friday. So
could be Friday. It's Friday somewhere, right? Isn't that the way the
maybe
song goes?
Yeah, once we get rid of the time changes, it'll just be permanently Friday, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Because that'll ever happen.
Hey, you know, I've seen crazy things happen. Yeah, you guys have done it.
Yeah, man. And it only screws up my life twice a year. It screws up my life in a different way because my time doesn't change. Everyone else's does. So all my meetings shift by an hour twice a year. And that leads to problems at certain points.
What's new? What you been working on?
I shipped something at Podia this week, a project I've been working on for a month or two. We have traditionally, like when you would buy a product at Podia, you would sign up through the user's storefront. And now that we've kind of shifted to a more community-focused product, we have added a shop. So if you're already an existing customer of a Podia site, you can now buy products directly from within Podia, which is pretty cool.
So they log in through Podia now?
Yeah. So if you're logged into a Podia site, like if I'm logged into your Podia site, which you deactivated, which is cool, it's fine. I don't ruminate over that at all. If I'm one of the members of your community and I log into your site because I've already purchased something in the past, there's a shop tab now, and I can go look at all the other products that you offer to kind of funnel in more sales. Because they're like, well, I came in because I wanted this one product that you were selling or this course or this download, and now I get to see everything else you have. I'm like, oh, well, that looks cool too. So I can buy that.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. That's a nice improvement. That seems fairly involved, I would imagine.
Yeah, fairly. It was a lot of UI, but we had some interesting settings going on too, which made it not tricky, but up the difficulty a bit because we added these very customizable pages for each of your things you're selling in the shop. And so we have global settings for that. But then for each product you have, you can then override those settings on a per product basis to add or to hide different things and to add descriptions. And then we added, oh my God, this is actually the hardest part. The very first meeting for this project, our designer was like, yeah, and I want to add a media carousel so that they can upload like videos and photos, and then there'll be a carousel and you can go through it. And me and my project partners looked at each other for like, why do we just know that this is going to be the hardest part of this project? Because if you've ever built a carousel,
to do it,
dude, you kind of can. Interestingly, our designer kind of mocked up the way he wanted it to work in Claude Design. Which did help to a degree. But what he did was he made two different versions of it. So Claude was like, oh, cool. I'll just make both of them for you. Don't worry. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. I've had a few things where I ask it to do something and then it's like, I added all these extra options in there because why not? Just in case, right? And I'm like, no. I want the minimal code. If we do need the option, I'll ask you to add it later. Please do not go and do extra stuff. Yeah.
Opus 5 is all about doing extra stuff.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. Sometimes you get in the flow of things and you're like, well, while I'm here, maybe I'll ask it to do this and that as well, which are things you do want to get done. But it's like, hold on, I need to do one thing at a time and make sure that gets done right. There was one thing I was doing this week for the longest time, like in Hatchbox, we've just had a simple text field. It was like, type in your organization and repository name and type in the branch name. Easy enough to do. Everybody knows their org name and repository and branch for the most part. Sometimes like people will put in a branch that was like staging and it's like, oh yeah, actually it was called QA or something. And so they'll fill that out and they don't know until the first deploy afterwards that it's like, we can't find a staging branch. So for the longest time, I've been like, I would love to just have this as look up the stuff from the API, display it all. Users can't make mistakes then because we can have you select the repository. You can't make a typo there. We'll load the branches. You can't select a branch that doesn't exist. So that's good. But then, it's kind of a pain because I got to do that for GitHub, and GitHub apps have their own endpoint. And then that doesn't work for like public repositories and things. So I'm going to need an exception for that and yada, yada, yada. Or at least, no, the GitHub app installation repositories endpoint only gives you stuff you've given it permission to. So if it's like an open source project on somebody else's account, you can still deploy that. You can access it. Anybody can, but it doesn't ever show up in that list. And you also can't search that list, which is annoying. But I took a stab at it a few times and was like, this is going to take a while. It's not a great use of my time right now. So then I had Claude go do this. And then it took a lot of guidance to get it to do what we actually needed, because it's a fairly involved thing. Because you're like, okay, do this for GitHub, then do this for GitLab and Bitbucket, and make sure that like it loads lazily, like it resets the branches when you select a different repo. But there were little things like, okay, it will leave the old branches briefly. They'll still be visible while you're switching to another repository and it's waiting for that API request. And I'm like, so there's a period of time where a user could like switch repos and then submit the wrong branch names. So like, please clear that out immediately. And eventually you get through all those little nuances and you're like, this is ballooned into a lot of stuff all of a sudden. And it's like, thank goodness that I didn't have to do that all myself. It's a great thing for that. There's so much code now. There's so many little partials it created for each one of those things. One thing that I did like about it was like, if I have it trigger loading one GitHub account and then switch to another one while it's loading the first one, it was using turbo frames. And the way that turbo frames work is when the source URL changes on like a lazy loaded one, it wouldn't force an update necessarily until it had completed the first request when the source URL changed. So it was like in this weird state. And, I asked Claude about it. It's like, hey, I'm just going to go read through the turbo min.js file to figure out how it works. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Reading the minified JavaScript to like understand how it works and then fix it. And it did it perfect on the first try. And I was like, that's nice. Because I would have gone to the GitHub repo and read the unminified version and probably would have recommended Claude do that too. But like, you know what? Reading the minified stuff and being able to pull that logic out of there is like, okay, this is getting damn good.
I bet it's actually easier for it to read the minified version because all the files are there and it's not, you can just
there's
figure things out.
Yeah, it's like fewer tokens, a lot less space and new lines and other garbage to like scan through or whatever. Maybe it doesn't have comments or whatever, which might be useful context or something. But I was like, if it doesn't find it here, then I could just ask it to read the GitHub repo for it or something. But
you could just point it at the node module folder.
Yeah, well, it pulled it out of the gem, I think, because I'm using like import maps. It found I see that face. But yeah, it worked out really well. I am very happy with how it turned out. But then there was a few false starts where I was like, okay, this is pretty good, but now you kind of like made a mess here. And at a certain point, I am not going to go give it these very fine-grained, instructions to go like simplify this, remove that, blah, blah, blah. I can just jump in the code and do that faster. So
right.
A few times it ended up building stuff that was like close, but not really what I wanted because I realized maybe I didn't explain the specifics enough ahead of time or something. I think in the end, after like 3 attempts of doing that, it turned out really well and probably still was worth the time savings. Almost certainly was some time savings, but at the end of the day, it wasn't quite near as much as I had hoped. The initial stab at it was like, oh my God, this is incredible. It took 5 minutes and voila, look at what we've got. But when you get into the actual complexity and the weeds, trying to get it to do exactly what you want can be a pain.
Yeah, I experienced that a bunch for this project. Our designer was like, I feel like I had so much more feedback on things for y'all this project than I normally do. It's like, is that because of AI? And I'm like, yeah. And also because of the fact that I'm not a details person. So like, if I was like doing it manually, like I would have been clicking through Figma and be like, okay, well, we need XY padding here and this spacing here. But when you just give it the whole thing, it's, and then you have to review this massive blob of code. And you're like, yeah. And I'm not a details person. Like, yeah, I missed this and that. We had a lot of feedback to address, which is aggravating because I'm like, yeah, in the future, that's definitely a me problem, but it's exacerbated by these massive diffs that Claude loves to drop.
Yeah. The more it gives you, the more you don't want to look at it.
Are you tired of babysitting your job queues? Let us do it for you. JudoScale monitors and autoscales your job queues so you can stop babysitting and get back to coding. We support Sidekick, SolidQ, GoodJob, and just about every other job backend in Rubyland. And of course, we autoscale your web services too. JudoScale scales up your apps faster than any other autoscaler, so requests, timeouts, and backed up job queues are mitigated before they become a problem. JudoScale has a free plan you can use forever, so there's literally no risk, whether you're on Heroku, AWS, Render, or any other cloud platform. Visit judoscale.com and get your job queues under control.
So Chris just ran away to answer his door. David, do you use RSpec?
Yes, I am an RSpec user.
Okay, cool. I'm an RSpec user too. Thank God we can have this conversation without that mini test person here. So I am losing my bananas this week because all of a sudden, I guess with Opus 5, Claude is like, yeah, this is a thing I do now. I write view specs. And I'm like, when did you start doing that? I'm like, I don't want this view spec. And I'm like, I think they're valuable like when maybe building the thing or building the commit or building the project. But after that, it's like, okay, this does not need to be here. But I caught it writing a spec for a partial. And I was like, no. I was like, we added an if condition to the end of a line here. You don't need to write a freaking spec. Do you have any thoughts on view specs? Do you like view specs? Because I'm not personally that big of a fan.
I tend to avoid them as much as possible. I don't like them. I feel like writing tests for things that are generally static is a useless endeavor. It's like, this isn't something that's going to change in any meaningful way. And if it does change, it's not a change that's going to break the app. It's like, we changed some text or we added some new markup. Writing tests for that doesn't feel like it has any return on the time investment it took to put those tests in there.
Yeah, it seems to love like asserting that data attributes are there these days. And I'm like, this is not what because I got all triggered about this yesterday. And so I put a poll up in Slack about this. And one of my coworkers was like, well, if there's a bunch of really complex logic in it, I'm like, well, that complex logic probably shouldn't be in the view, first off. But like, let's ignore that. Let's assume that it is there.
No, let's not ignore that. If there's complex logic in there, maybe that shouldn't be there. Maybe you should pull that into like a view component. I'm all about tests going on view component. That's a wonderful place for business logic and the tests to go. Or pull it out some other place.
You're right. I'm not skipping passes and this is just something we can ignore. I'm just like, yes, we probably mostly all agree that that shouldn't be in the view. But if it is, it's like, okay, that's the only time I could be like, okay, maybe it kind of makes sense to add a view spec here. But I have the same problem with component specs too, because I caught Claude just like the same thing. Is like, let's assert this data attribute is there in the markup. And like, let's assume like assert this and that. And I'm like, I don't need you to test the output of the component. I want you to test the logic in it. So if there's specific logic things, then yeah, let's test that. But I don't need you to be like, oh, well, the user added a div with a data controller on it. Let's make sure that that's in the markup. Like that doesn't help me at all.
Agreed.
I've been triggered about that. And let me see, let's check the poll results. Most people on my team just don't care, which is fine, because if you're not writing the spec, then it's like, okay. But I'm coming at this from a perspective of like, part of my responsibility is like maintaining a low CI runtime. And adding these specs does not contribute to having a low CI time. So it's fine if the majority of the people don't care about it and they don't have to write it, because if I don't have to write it, I don't really care. And you could argue that there is value in Claude using it to, when Claude writes the views or whatever, and then it asserts, like it tests that it wrote the right thing. I can see some value in that, but I just don't see value for our code base in having them necessarily.
I agree. As a general rule, I've tried to avoid view level tests because I don't see a whole lot of value in them either.
Yeah, I went through, we had some cleanup work we were doing. And one of the tasks was like, one of the projects added a bunch of view component specs for something they were working on. And I think Drew Bragg created a ticket that was like, we probably wrote a lot of unnecessary specs. Like, let's get some out of there. And I was like, that'll be fun to do. Like, I like that. Like, I'll do that. So I picked up that ticket and I worked on it. And I was like, let's get rid of every spec that doesn't test actual logic. Then I'm like more focused on like conditional logic. Like, if object is blank, we render this, otherwise render that. That's okay. Let's do some stuff around that. But I was like, I don't want to test about these data attributes. I don't want to test about anything that's not related to actual logic. And I deleted a ton of specs from a certain subset of components. And then Drew took basically what I did and was like, okay, now let's do this for all the component tests. And that felt good. I felt really good. I like that a lot. Maybe I just need to do the same thing for these view specs. I'm like, all right, if we don't care about them, that's fine. But like, let's get rid of anything that's not testing actual logic.
Yeah, I like that.
Drew made the point that they can be useful for, because I worded one of the poll items like, are useful in building, but don't need to be committed. He was like, kind of agree with that. He's like, but I think they could be useful for like the span of the project if you like remove them at the end of the project. I'm like, yeah, but the problem is no one goes back to remove them at the end of the project unless you're specific about it.
I'm sure that this isn't a wholesale, this is the way it is everywhere anecdote, but like from my personal experience, you rarely get the time and the luxury to go back and clean that up. It's like, oh, you delivered on that project you were working on? Great. Here's 2 more projects. Get started.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing, when we shipped the shop project yesterday, I had worked a bunch in the morning. I was like, all right, I need like a few minutes. So I like walked into my living room. I laid down on my couch and I started to scroll. And then I just immediately like sat straight up and I was like, wait a minute. Because there were a lot of like areas where we had, like, we use a lot of help articles at Podia, which I think is very useful. So like there's like a setting. And so when you hover over the setting name, it opens like a popover that has what the setting is, but then it points to like a help article and various things like that. That's a pretty good example. So when we're building those, like, we don't have the help article written yet, right? Like, that's something that our team does when we're in the pre-shipping phase. And I messaged my project partner. I was like, yo, we forgot to update all those links, those placeholder links. And he's like, oh, crap. So, which we were able to fix it really quickly. But I was like, I'm the project lead on this new project we're working on. I was like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a ticket in Linear. And then anytime that we have to add a link where we don't have the actual link yet, we're going to put the href to pound and then the ticket name, so that at the end, and then I created the ticket. So now anytime at the end of this project, we know for a fact, we're not going to forget it because now it's an actual issue, and it will be easy to find them all because it's just the href will always be like the name of the ticket. Chris, you're back. Good.
I'm back. The one time the entire day, we haven't had our irrigation opened or started this year because the guy we had previously just kind of ghosted me. So, of course, we're starting in August to open it for the first time. And then they come out while we're recording. You know, only part of the day where I'm not here, or busy rather. And then it's also raining today. It's like, great. We don't even need the irrigation right now.
Nice.
We will. It's getting hot and dry as hell. Some days.
It's just now getting hot.
It's been hot, but our grass was like doing fine. It was just starting to get crispy last couple weeks. It was like, it's real dry. So the fun thing is we used to have this Hunter irrigation software thing controller, and their software was old Bootstrap 2 or something, just like terrible and ugly. And you're like, I can recognize that it's old Bootstrap.
Wow.
But then these guys, the Ratio, whatever, seem like more of a sort of tech company or something. And they have a bunch of well-designed little devices and software and stuff for it all. The guy we had put this stuff in, I was like, this seems much better. I wish that I got to look at the options and then choose, because of course they all get like a deal from their dealer. We get, if we sell these, we get a cut of the cost or something or other.
Mm-hmm.
So as the homeowner, you're like, actually, please let me choose. I want the one that's best for me, not the one that's best for your wallet.
Yeah.
I have to live with this. Honeybadger helps you deploy with confidence and be your team's DevOps hero by combining error, uptime, and performance monitoring in one simple platform. It's free to get started, and setup just takes a few minutes. Be the hero your team needs. Suit up at honeybadger.io. That's www.honeybadger.io.
Speaking of upsells, I went to see the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh, how was it?
I really enjoyed it. I really like Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. So all my friends were like, you need to go see the Odyssey. You need to go see the Odyssey.
Oh, dude.
And then I was like, I should go see the Odyssey. And then Spider-Man came out. And I was like, I'm going to go at 9:40 a.m. and go watch the new Spider-Man on Saturday.
Yeah. No, I guess it was the afternoon. It was like 3 when we went to see the Odyssey. But Jackson's like favorite thing in the world is Spider-Man. I don't know if he'd be cool with like the real live action stuff. I think he's mostly into the cartoon stuff for now. But like today, he was decked out, Spider-Man shirt, shorts, sandals. Not a Spider-Man hat today, but
Dude, I used to have the whole like
maybe
suit.
Spider-Man underwear. He's into Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man.
So if you didn't go to see Spider-Man fully decked out like that, are you real? Real supporter?
I did not, but I also don't have any of that anymore because I'm an adult. I left my Spider-Man mask back in my hometown. I went to get popcorn and I was like, I want the medium popcorn and the medium drink. And they're like, okay, cool. And they're like, so would you like to upgrade that popcorn to a large? Like, it's only blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. They're like, okay. Well, would you like to upgrade that drink to a large? It's only XYZ. And I'm like, no, dude, I told you what I wanted. Give me what I wanted. Like, okay, cool. And then he like looks down at this computer for me. He's like, how about some candy? Would you like some gobstoppers? And I'm like, brother, if you don't stop trying to upsell me right now. Like,
gobstoppers. I haven't thought of those in forever. I'm
pretty sure he said gobstopper. I was like, dude, I know this is how y'all make money. I was like, stop. I told you exactly what I wanted. Just give me that.
I remember having those so often as a kid, and I haven't even thought of gobstoppers in freaking years. That's like nostalgia. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're going to go see Spider-Man on Saturday. So,
dude, it's good. Let me know. I'm a big Punisher fan, and he's in the movie.
Bernthal's so good in that role.
Yeah.
So good.
I've seen the Punisher series, but they made like a hour-long, like, I don't know, mini movie or whatever they want to call it. The Punisher one last. It sucked, dude.
It was not good.
I was like, how am I over halfway through the movie and nothing has happened yet? What is going on here? But I did go back to start watching Daredevil season 2 when he's in it. And I'm like, oh, Daredevil, dude. I forgot how good the original Daredevil was.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that one. That one's great. Yeah, we just watched that latest season of The Bear. That was
that's on my list. I need to watch that.
Great. It's really good. Also, you have to go see The Odyssey still. It was freaking good.
I know, but I'm not going to go see it if I'm not going to see it in IMAX.
We didn't see it in IMAX.
Then I'll just watch the pirated version.
We saw like the big, I forget what they call the giant screen that we've got here, but the guy who took or scanned our tickets when we went in, he was like, I just want to warn you, like, it's extremely loud and we can't turn it down. And I was like, I'm sure this is like something required to be at a certain volume by Christopher Nolan or somebody, whoever. And
the fact that he said we can't turn it down implies that people have asked for it to be turned down.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it
And it
does.
was loud, but it was also like, it was definitely on purpose, because a lot of those like moments in the movie that were loud, you could tell they were very intentional, because it really was like that much more sort of emotion or whatever to that battle or whatever the hell was going on. But it was dang good. I think it was particularly fun for Brooke and I, because Brooke, Greek mythology is like one of her favorite things in the world.
Dude, same. I love Greek mythology.
It's such a good movie if you love Greek mythology. But then we were literally just in Greece a month or two ago. So this just feels like we were on vacation again. All of this area that they're filming in, everything was just like, I was literally standing there.
My daughter got really into the Epic the Musical. If you guys heard of that. It's basically the same story of the Odyssey, but it's like a concept musical the writer put together in the hopes of getting it made on Broadway or whatever. But yeah, it just goes through the whole story as a musical. A, it's really good. But B is like it stays more true to a lot of the events in the mythology than the Odyssey movie did. And so it's just like,
yeah,
my daughter and I just are listening to it on repeat some days, where it's just kind of like, I don't think we want to see the movie because we know that it diverges from the mythology in significant ways and doesn't like do some of like the really big known beats from the story. And so,
yeah, I can see that for sure. Feeling like a bit of a bummer where you're like, I wish that it was more accurate or whatever. But that's Hollywood for you.
Yeah.
indeed.
I haven't read the Odyssey in a long time, but I loved the Iliad.
Iliad, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Great story. And Troy. Troy was a great movie. David,
who's
you don't
in
think
that
so?
one?
Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise? Brad Pitt, I think.
Yeah.
Pitt, yeah.
They confuse me. I think they're the same person.
That was from 2004. Jeez.
It was a little while ago, yeah.
Dude, Daredevil season 2 is from like 10 years ago. I was like, I remember watching this, I guess, in college. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that kind of lines up.
Crazy. Making me feel old, man.
I feel old as dirt. Joe Dirt.
What else? There was like a new bundler release with cooldown flag thing. I don't remember what else is new. The Redis gem got a 6.0 release like yesterday or today. And I went to go try it and see if it would work with Rails A1. It does not. The Rails internal thing locks to Redis greater than or equal to 4 and less than 6. So like 4 and 5 are pretty much the versions or whatever it was. But then I was
bundle
like,
open the gem spec and
yeah,
change
just
the
like
requirement.
edit Rails real quick locally. It got me wondering though, but I was like, has anybody made a PR for this to Rails main, blah, blah, blah. And I was looking around and like search for Redis in the there was nothing in open PRs or issues. So then I was like, let me search closed ones. I remember something related to Redis had changed. And actually what changed was Rails main uses the Redis client gem, which is like a much lighter weight thing. Because if they don't need as far as I remember, pretty much the only thing you need it for is like action cable as the back end. So they only need like the pub sub features or whatever. They don't need the entire Redis functionality or feature set. So that isn't even necessary to like upgrade. Probably, I guess if you're using Sidekick or whatever, like it probably still depends on the Redis gem or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that'll change in the future. But like a Sidekick is going to use a lot more of the Redis functionality than just action cable pub sub there. So it probably makes more sense. But yeah, it's kind of nice to see. We'll have a lighter weight dependency. We use Redis for action cable for Hatchbox, and a lot of people do. Unless you're like on the need of any cable level, that's the ideal way to do your pub sub stuff.
Didn't a Rails like CVE release happen last week?
Yes. What was that about? Rails CVE, because we did not talk about that.
I remember.
Oh, yeah, it was the active storage variant processing using VIPs, insecure defaults, failed to disable unfuzzed third-party libvips loader operations, such as MATLAB, HDF5 parsing. Crafting a malicious file upload makes libvips read local server files like config master.key or environment variables and render them into downloaded image pixel data. Yeah, big bad news. That's probably the biggest major thing security-wise I've seen in a long time for Rails. And then the way that it seemed like Mike D'Alessio did a majority of the work on things, just nailed it. There's a repository. There is, here, I'll post the link for us to have in the notes. But the repository has like skills that can check, were you vulnerable? Were you exploited? So you can actually run it against your production data and see if someone actually exploited you. And there was a little bit of a pain point because when this came out, I had 2 servers still. So I like upgraded all our apps right away. But then we had 2 servers that were still on Ubuntu Jammy, I think it was, which is like 2204 and Noble's 2404. So the libvips that comes with that version of Ubuntu, they like pick a version for every package and like just maintain that. And they'll do like security fixes and whatever, but they don't do any like larger upgrades in the future. Those 2 Rails apps that were running on those 2 servers that were just slightly out of date with libvips versions, you need, I forget what version of libvips. It says in the docs here or wherever, but I had to go upgrade those servers to get like 1 bug fix improvement version bump for Rails to actually accept it. Because even though you upgraded your Rails app, you also need a minimum now libvips installed.
Right.
So I had to go do that, which was easy enough, but wasn't something that I expected when they say, hey, upgrade your Rails app and then you should be fixed. And then it was like, oh, actually, no, I have to also upgrade my server, or libvips like compile the latest version on the older Ubuntu server, or good excuse for me to finally upgrade it to the next version. So that's what I ended up doing.
We upgraded immediately too. And the next day, our designer was like, hey, there's an issue. Like I uploaded a photo or something and now like the page is broken.
Rails master key popped out.
Yeah. But see, I'm not sure if the problem was because of the upgrade or if it was just a coincidence, but I had to change something kind of internal to that. So I was like, yeah. I don't remember now if it was because of that upgrade or something else.
Yeah, it might have been. Do you know the base Ubuntu version that your Heroku stack is on? It's probably 2404.
No idea.
Yes.
No idea.
Yeah. It's usually pretty much the latest version. And if you didn't have to mess with libvips, then it probably was.
No, I didn't have to mess with libvips. I had to change something like that we were doing internally.
Yeah.
With like one of our file uploaders.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting thing, but I loved getting the skills and then you can read through all that. And there's some references, assessment example and a guide and a skill markdown file for each of those to check if you were vulnerable and to see if you were actually exploited. But yeah, it sounded like they detected that in the 37 signals code base for Basecamp or Hey or something. I know Mike's always been doing a lot of security stuff, so it seemed like he was the one who took lead on that and then just did the stuff for themselves. And then when it was ready, published that. And it was just like, this is great. This is such a wonderful way to publish, hey, we're vulnerable, and you're going to have to look at your code base or like your database to determine were you exploited or not. That's awesome. Because it's not super straightforward. It's enough that like you have to look at, or there's a fair bit of instructions for AI or LLMs to dig through and understand everything.
Yeah, I was looking through that. It's a lot in here.
Yeah, I thought it was
tell
just
that
very
AI
well
wrote it because of this HR that it loves throwing in markdown documents. Yeah, I cannot stand that. because GitHub already adds like underscores under the underlines like titles, H2s and H1s, and I can always tell when a README has been made with AI because it has the title underline and then it has like the triple dash for the HR element. I'm like, oh my God, that triggers me so much.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I was in a conversation with a few people in Discord, and somebody's writing caught me a little off guard at first. And it was like, they seem to just be writing a little too formally. But then the last couple messages with them was just like, I guarantee you this is just written by AI, because it kind of regurgitates what I just said, but then says nice things about it. And I'm like, this is just
You're
like,
right.
It's funny because it's like, I said something about like, reminds me I need to record a screencast on this topic. And it was like, that would make a great screencast. Blank is a fantastic tool for blah, blah, blah. And just kind of like regurgitates what I said, but didn't add anything. Didn't say, yes, I would love to see that like a actual human being would. It just is clearly an AI that somebody's using to hang out in Discord. Not sure what value you get out of that. That's just a weird thing.
Maybe they're
But who knows?
speaker.
Maybe in a day it'll be like, also check out my spam links here.
Yeah.
Build a little bit of trust and then slap them with the spam.
We made a joke that our designer was like, would it be easier for me to just talk to y'all's Claudes instead of sending these issues to y'all first? And I was like, yeah, probably, because it's the one who did it.
Oh, this is interesting. I just saw Matt Swanson had posted a PR because some of the code in this Rails CVE fix thing or repository appears to be MySQL specific, because that's what 37 Signals uses. But I guess it didn't work with Postgres, which is what they use at Arrows. If you do use Postgres, and that is probably worth looking at that PR, probably just use Matt's fork if you need to or whatever. It would make sense if they merged this or whatever.
Yeah, but then they go to accept ones from MariaDB and SQL Server.
Yeah. It's Rails, so they officially support SQLite, Postgres, and MySQL, so you would expect the variance. And it looks like it's just this one max execution time thing that's MySQL specific. So there's like a statement timeout version for Postgres, and then whatever the equivalent, I'm sure, is for SQLite. Or if there isn't something for that, then it's just ignore that step or something. But
how do we do it in Mongo? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Mongo is appalled.
Yeah.
Oh, Mongo is appalled.
Yeah, see, I knew you get it. Chris, you got to read Dungeon Crawler Carl, bro.
I do. Yeah. I just don't have any time to read anything anymore. So
Well, you got to listen to it. That's what you really
That's
got.
true.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't get the opportunity to do that anymore either, though. It is listening to Spider-Man or Blaze and the Monster Machines.
That's why you got to drive with your AirPods in. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Jackson, put these on. All right.
Well,
I am done. It's Friday anyways, right?
Jason's been on sabbatical for a month and he finally came back. And
Oh, nice.
the very first thing I posted, I tagged him and I was like, hey, have you seen this coffee Haml repo? It's Haml's indentation for a syntax fused with CoffeeScript semantics, compiling directly to React JSX runtime. I think you might like it.
Oh my goodness. You should
He
throw
didn't-
some prototype JS in there.
Dude, he
Or
didn't
what was
even
that?
react to it.
The Rails
crazy.
server rendered JavaScript thing.
Oh, yeah.
Should slap some of that in there.
Yeah. My coworker just replied, Godzilla had a stroke trying to read this and died. Meme of dead Godzilla. I love it.
Well, enough of that. Yeah, I got work to do before Saturday.
Yeah, before Saturday.
God. If you believe that Thursday is Friday, then you really should just take Friday off. That's
Yeah.
the new rule.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
That's the new
It's
rule.
that easy.
Yeah, open up. I'm going to
I
open up
have
the time tastic right now.
I had a fun story at work this week where I brought production down.
Oh,
Nice. Shout
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that's
how'd that happen?
super fun. It wasn't even anything wrong in the code. It was that I inadvertently added an unconditional left outer join to a large table. And so it maxed out the database connection pool. And so
Nice.
the app was technically still up, but
Yeah, I just couldn't write to the
couldn't do
database. Yep, been there, actually. Been there.
I got to learn about the wonderful magic that is where exists instead of the way I was doing it before. Apparently, those are way faster than traditional queries.
I don't remember what I was doing. I always forget about the many question mark method for like an active record query. And
What the hell is that?
you know, well, see, okay, I'm going to make a screencast on it, but you can ask like, does this query, and you do like a dot exists and it's like select one if there's any results in this or whatever. And it returns you a Boolean. Well, many is basically as if there are two or more in the result set. So what's cool about that is like normally you would end up either you have your couple options where you're like, I either load every freaking record and then count them, or I do a count on everything and I don't actually care about all of those records. I just want to see if there's two. So Rails actually goes and creates a subquery for that. And then it goes and finds the first two records if it can find them, and then just stops there. And so it's like the most efficient way you can do it by having the subquery, and then it just checks to see were there two in that result or not. So you don't have to check if there's 3 or 4 or 1,000 or whatever. You just get the first two and then it stops. And it's like, that's really slick because the convenience of just asking if there's many. Because I think I was trying to, in Hatchbox, put a little drop down. So in this cluster, just like you can see on GitHub now, like in this organization, you have the like quick repository switcher. So you can jump to like another repository in the same organization. I wanted to do the same thing in Hatchbox. So you could jump to another app in the same cluster. And for that, I need to know, is there many or two or more than one? Because otherwise I want to hide that. There's no reason in showing an empty dropdown. So I was like, yeah, count is greater than or equal to 2. But then I just asked Claude to do it for me because I was like, this is nice to have. I don't really need to be involved in writing this code. It's a clear thing we can copy paste around. And it was like, yeah, I'll use a many query here. And I was like, many? I haven't seen that. I haven't used that in I don't know how long. And now, Claude, please go check the code base for other places that we could use this because I just forgot all about it. So that's a fun use case for that too.
Can you get more than 2? Like if I wanted to check if there's 3, because like something we do a lot is like, okay, if there's more than 3, then we'll add a show more button for pagination. But I'm like, then I just only need to know if there's more than 3.
I don't imagine there is for that, but guarantee you could probably go search for the source code for many in the implementation for that and like patch or extend the active record relation for it.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, there's this thing called limited count. So many, return false if none, return super if block given, return records.many if loaded, limited count greater than 1. So this limited count must be the magic to this. Limit
Every time
value.
you say many, all I hear is many men wish death on me.
Limit to dot count.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I would guess that there's not a, well, especially because it's actually hard coded to limited count greater than 1. So there may be a way for you to easily do that by patching it, or you could make a PR, I guess, and say many, pass in an argument, but unlikely that would be probably merged. It gets a little too in the weeds for it.
Like, go kick rocks, bro. Make your own gem.
Yeah. Go write your own function, bro.
Yeah, God.
I don't think that would make sense, but they do have like the 42 method
True.
Exactly.
First, second, third, whatever. I forget how far those go up. Maybe just third or something.
Well, congrats on taking down production, David. Big
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those milestones that you have to hit eventually.
Yeah, now
You gotta
you have
do
to
it.
put that little flare on your conference badges from now on. Like, you can't not have it. You have to be somebody called out now permanently for taking down production.
I'm not even trying to flex. I don't know if I ever have. I think there was one time at Podia that I messed something up. I think it just screwed everything up in the app versus taking it all the way down. But
You're
I
not
haven't-
trying hard enough.
I know, dude. I've been trying to vibe code. I'm like, dude, eventually one day.
I deleted the whole production database one time. So,
Yeah, see, that's
Yeah.
that's a little bit worse.
so like, yeah, I think I've beat you all. To be fair, whoever wrote that like rake task, because we had this weird app that synced everything in the database from some third-party API. It was like some little spree storefront thing. And I forget what I was doing, but like the regular kind of maintenance on it or something. And there was like a regular cron job to do that. But obviously something was broken. So first step, clear out the database. Second step, import things. Oops. Don't know how to continue after deleting everything. And then I was like, hey guys, is this supposed to work like this?
Was that database necessary or what?
I didn't write the thing, so I don't think it was my fault, obviously, but I didn't have Claude to blame at the time. Like, damn
Yeah.
it, Claude.
So that wasn't my fault. You're supposed to read what Claude writes. But yeah, come on. Who has the time?
Yeah, who does that?
I've literally got 1,000 lines waiting for me to read after this podcast. Like, come on. Who's got the time?
I know. And then, like, how in the world can you possibly read all of that yourself and catch the issues? Because that's the thing, is like, it makes a lot of assumptions and they're not necessarily called out. Like, a developer might put a comment on, like, not sure the best way to do this here, but we decided to go this route, and left a comment. We might need to change this later. It's not going to do that for you in a comment. Not unless you like hinted that that was a thing. And that's where I've been bitten the most by it. It's like, okay, I took that for granted, but like, how was I supposed to know to pay attention to that little thing there in this giant PR? That's the hard part of all this.
We kind of talked about that a little bit while you were gone.
Yeah.
That and VSpecs.
And Prototype JS.
Yeah. See, I told you it'd be better if he was gone for that.
All right.
All right.
Everybody should go see if they can export their config master key from their Rails application with the crafty JPEG.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. I'm out of here. Peace out.
PNG, bro.